Jumping right in, our first clip gives us a remarkable sighting of a potential Bigfoot near Seaside, Oregon. According to veteran researcher and witness Todd Nice, the creature was photographed crossing a gravel road before vanishing into the surrounding forest. Nice explains that he first learned of this photo while chatting with a DMV clerk, whose friend reportedly captured the image on September 8, 2014. Although the snapshot is somewhat unclear, Nice believes it appears authentic. The figure is shown moving from right to left, and by the time the witness managed to take a single picture, it had already slipped back into the dense foliage. Interestingly, this location is only about 5 miles from where Nice had his own Bigfoot encounter in 1993. From the appearance of the silhouette and its forward-leaning stance, some believe it matches the classic profile commonly associated with Sasquatch. The fact that the photographer never sought fame or money for the picture further enhances its credibility. She only shared it after an unexpected conversation revealed her experience. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, this sighting contributes to the ongoing discussion about unexplained creatures that may roam the Pacific Northwest. For now, the mysterious figure has disappeared into the wilderness, leaving behind only questions and a single intriguing photograph. In a fascinating analysis of a recent Sasquatch vocalization recording from the Olympic Peninsula, Matt Moneymaker, founder of the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, BFRO, provides compelling insights about documenting these elusive creatures. The Olympic Peninsula, located in the northwestern corner of the continental United States, is particularly significant in Bigfoot research due to its salmon-rich rainforests, which reportedly host the highest density of Sasquatch activity in the country. Moneymaker's expertise sheds light on why video evidence of Bigfoot remains rare, while audio recordings may become increasingly common. He explains that physical sightings typically last mere seconds, often occurring during road crossings, making video capture nearly impossible. However, the extended duration of Sasquatch vocalizations presents a unique opportunity for documentation.
I never heard a noise like that before. So now it ain't going to do it again. It's just been bellowing. Yeah, like that. What the hell would that be? Wow.
In his own words, Moneymaker emphasizes the distinctive nature of these sounds. This is absolutely positively not a wolf. If you or someone else mistakenly assumes this is a wolf, I urge you or them to look for existing recordings of wolves online to find a reasonable match to this recording. In the process of doing that, you will realize how different this creature sounds from any type of howling wolf. His analysis continues with practical advice for potential witnesses. Be aware that you have a sound recorder in your pocket and ready to go at all times. It's a video camera, but it records decent sound. All you gotta do is start recording a video in the direction of the sounds. This guidance reflects a growing recognition that while capturing visual evidence of Sasquatch remains challenging, documenting their acoustic signatures may provide valuable scientific data for future research. One photo, two versions of the same man, a single moment that defies explanation. At 1:21 a.m., he snapped just one picture on his cell phone. But the image shows him twice, once in the present and once from nearly a minute in the future. In the phantom image behind him, a cigarette glows that hadn't even been lit when he took the shot. When uploaded, the comments were in a frenzy, many claiming that this is just double exposure. Others firing back that those belong to old film cameras, not modern phones. It's not a glitch or a malfunction, it's something else. One commenter called it a dark passenger, a shadow version of ourselves that walks beside us, watching, waiting. Maybe this late night photo caught more than just a man with his phone. Maybe it caught that other self, the one that's always there, just out of sight. Until now. Sometimes technology captures things our eyes aren't meant to see. A glimpse behind the curtain of reality where time isn't quite as fixed as we think. Where our other selves wait, watching, following, their cigarettes glowing in a future that shouldn't exist in a single frame. In the quiet farmlands of Richland County, Ohio, where Interstate 71 cuts through 150 acres of open fields, an unexpected encounter has reignited age-old questions about what might lurk in our forests. On December 28, 2024, Andrew Baum's routine hunting preparation turned into something far more intriguing. Picture this. A late December afternoon, the sun hanging low in the winter sky as Baum and his stepfather Sean worked to set up their tree stand. At around 4 p.m., with daylight beginning to fade, Baum climbed up to test their newly positioned vantage point. From this elevated perch, the landscape stretched out before him like a vast tapestry, bare trees, open fields, and the distant highway creating a panoramic view of rural Ohio. But what happened next would turn this ordinary hunting setup into something extraordinary. As Baum scanned the horizon, his eyes caught movement in the adjacent field. What he observed wasn't the typical wildlife one might expect. Instead, he reported witnessing something that moved with an unsettling combination of size and speed. Not running, but covering ground with long, powerful strides that seemed beyond human capability. What makes this sighting particularly compelling is the setting and timing. The barren winter landscape offered clear visibility, and the late afternoon sun provided adequate light. Without a phone or camera at hand, Baum's observation was purely visual, unmediated by technology. Just human eyes witnessing something inexplicable. The credibility of the report has drawn attention from the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. Matt Moneymaker, the organization's founder and president, along with Ohio investigator Brian Dayerman, conducted a thorough follow-up investigation. While they found Baum's account credible, they're grappling with a crucial question. Could this have been a misidentified human crossing the field? Adding another layer of intrigue to this story is the property owner's response. While confirming that Baum and his stepfather had permission to hunt there, they've actively avoided publicity, concerned about potential trespassing from curious onlookers. This reluctance to attract attention perhaps speaks to the delicate balance between public interest in such sightings and the practical concerns of rural property owners. Or maybe the owners have a secret. Whether this sighting joins the long list of unexplained phenomena or finds a more conventional explanation, it reminds us that even in our modern, well-mapped world, mysteries still persist in the quiet corners of rural America, where open fields meet dense forests, and the line between the known and unknown sometimes blurs in the fading light of a winter afternoon. Sometimes the most unsettling footage comes from ordinary security cameras, quietly watching over homes while families sleep. This particular camera was doing exactly that. Stationed outside a house, lens trained on the dark woods beyond, just another quiet night, until something extraordinary happened. The footage shows a strange figure that seems to materialize from above, dropping down into frame as if descending from nowhere. The movement is unnaturally quick, more like something you'd expect in a special effects shot than real security footage. The entity appears humanoid in shape, but that's where any resemblance to normal human movement ends. What makes this footage particularly intriguing is the mysterious glow surrounding the figure. Since the camera was recording in black and white, we can't determine if this was light emanating from the being itself or if it was wearing some kind of luminescent white clothing. Whether this was a visit from something beyond our world or a manifestation of something we don't yet understand, one thing is certain: in the dead of night when most of us are sleeping, there are things moving in the darkness that defy our understanding of what's possible. You know how dogs seem to sense things we can't? This story perfectly illustrates that. A woman was filming her walk in the woods when her dog started acting strangely, fixating on one particular spot and refusing to move forward. At the time, she didn't think much of it. Dogs often stop for various reasons. But when she reviewed her footage later, she discovered something chilling. In the exact location where her dog had been staring, there was a figure with a pale face and dark, hollow eyes, dressed in black and partially concealed by the trees. Some speculate it might be a watcher of the woods, a folkloric entity said to observe people in its forest domain. What makes this story particularly compelling is how the dog sensed the presence before any human could see it, even through the camera. It's a reminder that our pets' seemingly strange behavior might be worth paying attention to. They could be perceiving things beyond our normal human awareness. Security cameras are designed to catch unwanted visitors, but one homeowner's late-night footage revealed something that made her blood run cold. There, moving through the darkness, was a shape she never expected to see again. A translucent apparition moving through the night. She found herself frozen, watching the footage repeatedly. Logic said it had to be a malfunction, a glitch of the camera. But as she studied the apparition's movements, her heart knew the truth. This was her white golden retriever, Polly, her faithful guardian who had passed away months before. The same commanding presence, the same protective patrol that had safeguarded their home for years. Some believe the bonds we share with our beloved pets are strong enough to pierce the veil between worlds. Was this why Polly's spirit had returned? Maintaining her eternal vigil over the family she'd protected in life? In the end, perhaps security cameras capture more than just intruders. They might just record those rare moments when love proves stronger than death itself. Technology sometimes captures things our eyes miss. In 2017, at a quiet bar, two women decided to take a simple selfie using Snapchat's playful dog filter. What they captured instead would defy explanation. The bar was nearly empty that night. No other patrons sat nearby, no servers walked past, just two sisters-in-law sharing drinks and laughs, immortalizing the moment with those signature puppy ears and nose that millions use every day. But when they looked at their photo, something impossible stared back at them. There, behind their smiling faces, was a third figure. One who couldn't possibly have been there. The woman's image was unmistakable. Their grandmother, who had passed away a decade earlier in 2007. The same gentle smile, the same distinctive hairstyle. A figure that couldn't have been there, yet somehow found her way into a digital photograph through a lens that was supposed to just add cute dog features to their faces. Years later, the image still defies rational explanation. There were no mirrors in position to create a reflection. No one walked behind them. No technical glitch could explain the clear appearance of a woman who had left this world long before Snapchat even existed. Sometimes the barrier between worlds grows thin, and those we've lost find new ways to remind us they're still watching. Even through something as mundane as a social media filter, they find a way to say hello. On January 14, 2025, a TikTok creator known as Sunshineable uploaded an outlandish clip from her usual TikTok filming routine. Only this time she claimed to have captured Bigfoot traipsing around in the background.
Oh gosh, it's cold. The camera stand won't stay. Nope.
The video shows a dark, furry figure awkwardly lurking behind a tree before it clumsily scurries off. The uploader insists it's real, but here's the kicker. Rumor has it she suckered some poor guy into wearing a Bigfoot suit to stage this dramatic encounter. Well, maybe I might have made up that part, but given the footage, it certainly doesn't scream real Sasquatch. The so-called creature barely reaches the branches and moves like someone who's more worried about tripping over a costume than about remaining undetected in the wild. Now, some fans stand by Sunshineable, pointing out she's never posted a clip like this before. They argue that because she hasn't cried wolf in the past, there could be a sliver of truth to her claim. But if you ask me, that's hardly rock-solid evidence. Dear Lincoln, I've been watching your channel for some time now, and I never thought I'd be writing to you about my own experience. But after what happened last October, I need to share this with someone who won't think I'm crazy. I live on a 12-acre property in rural Michigan, about 40 miles outside of Detroit. My house sits back from the road, surrounded by old oak trees, and I have a decent-sized pond about 200 yards behind my house. I've always been proud of that pond, stocked it with fish myself, and it attracts all kinds of wildlife. Usually that's a good thing. That night around 9:30 p.m., I was sitting on my back deck having a beer and enjoying the unseasonably warm weather for October. The moon was nearly full, so there was plenty of light. I keep a few solar-powered lights around the pond too, which create this nice reflection on the water. I've done this routine hundreds of times before, just unwinding after work. That's when I heard it, this weird splashing sound coming from the pond. Now, I'm used to hearing deer come down to drink, or the occasional raccoon making a fuss, but this was different. The splashing was more rhythmic, almost deliberate. I stood up to get a better look, thinking maybe some local kids had snuck onto my property for a late-night swim. What I saw next, honestly, I'm still trying to process. At first glance, I thought it was a large dog bent over the water's edge. It was dark-colored, and I could see what looked like fur or hair covering its body. But something about the way it was crouched just didn't seem right. Its proportions were all wrong for a dog. The shoulders were too broad, and its back legs seemed longer than they should be. I must have made some noise because suddenly the thing stopped drinking. And I swear on everything I hold dear, it stood up. It just unfurled itself, rising up on two legs like a person, but it had to be at least 7 feet tall. The moonlight caught its profile, and I could see its head was shaped in a weird way. Elongated like a wolf's muzzle, but bigger than any wolf I've ever seen. Its ears were pointed and seemed to swivel like it was listening for something. For a split second, I tried to rationalize what I was seeing. Maybe it was someone in a costume? One of those hairy performers from a traveling circus? But the way it moved was too fluid, too natural. No costume could replicate that kind of motion. Plus, who would be wandering around in a wolf costume at night on private property? The whole thing probably lasted less than 30 seconds. But it felt like time had stopped. I reached for my phone to try and get a picture, but I fumbled it in my shock, and by the time I looked back up, the creature was already moving. It didn't run exactly. It was more like a smooth lope on two legs, heading toward the tree line at the edge of my property. The speed at which it covered that distance was incredible. I sat there for another hour just staring at the pond, trying to make sense of what I'd seen. I kept thinking I should go check for tracks, but honestly I was too scared to leave my deck. This morning I did walk down to the pond. There were some odd impressions in the mud by the water's edge, but the ground is too hard right now to hold clear prints. I've never believed in the supernatural. I'm a practical person. I work in construction. I deal with concrete facts and measurements all day. But I know what I saw wasn't natural. It wasn't a bear, it wasn't a person in a costume, and it definitely wasn't a normal wolf or dog. The image of that thing standing up is burned into my memory. I haven't told anyone else about this. My wife would think I'm losing it, and my buddies at work would never let me hear the end of it. But I've watched enough of your videos to know that other people have seen similar things. Maybe sharing this will help someone else who's had a similar experience feel less alone. If you want to use this story on your channel, feel free. I only ask that you change my name. I don't need the attention in my small town. Just call me Mike. Best regards, Mike. P.S. I've started locking my back door at night now, even though I never used to bother. And I don't sit out on the deck after dark anymore. Some things you just can't unsee. This clip posted by a concerned Reddit user in Maryland shows snow outside someone's front door. He took this quick video of unusual tracks trailing right across the surface, and they aren't immediately recognizable. Now the person filming suspects something a bit sinister is lurking around. If we slow it down, we can see that the prints are a bit stretched by the wind. One quick-witted Reddit user chimed in that these are just footprints of a bunny. And I think he's right. I know the OP wanted to pass this off as some type of cryptid, potentially Bigfoot, but I'm not buying it, neither is Reddit.